To tell here with Troy Nash, very accomplished, decorated amateur, now undefeated in the featherweight division. Big featherweight too, almost 5'10" featherweight. Sparred with some of the best fighters in the world, and yeah, now and was the first ever Zuffa fighter and winner in the first ever Zuffa card. What's up, Troy? How you doing, man? Getting ready for this fight this Saturday on the Andreas Cortez card against Brian Rodriguez. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Been here in Vegas for about 6 weeks, doing training camp and came out early to just do something different. I felt like I needed a little bit of change in just the scenery and just in camp. So came out here. I've been getting some top-notch work. I've been working with the PI, strength and conditioning coaches, and camp's going great for me right now.
I got a couple mistakes actually. It's this Sunday, and it's
Yeah,
Brian
Sunday.
Morales, not Brian Rodriguez. So you gotta
Yeah,
forgive me.
no, Brian Rodriguez.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got it right the first time. Okay, never
yeah.
mind. Thank you, Troy. But man, you're okay. So including this fight, I mean, because your last six fights, the combined record of the opponents is 42-0, and then by Sunday it'll be 50-1. So that's really good competition for a 20-year-old fighter in less than 10 fights. What's the philosophy behind that? Why are you moving quickly against quality opposition so young in your career?
I feel like in the amateurs, I got all the experience. I'm still learning, I'm young, so I'm still learning right now, but taking these type of fights that I've been taking has been helping me grow as a fighter, like a lot quicker than a lot of guys that's my age. What's the point of, going through hard training camps, spending money on camps if you're just gonna go in there and fight a guy, you hit him one time and you go money on camps and, being away from your family for 6 to 8 weeks just to go fight a guy with an upside down record instead when you could go fight a guy who's really coming to win and trying to beat you. These guys they're not coming in there to lay down. They're undefeated for a reason, and I feel like you're testing yourself every fight. And when you get to the championship level, when you got a hard fight in front of you for 12 rounds, it prepares you for it.
Yeah, the thing is though, guys that move quickly coming out of the amateurs, it's usually fighters from outside of the United States that are well into their 20s, almost nearing their 30s, and they take that fast track. Why are you doing it when you still haven't fully grown into your full grown man strength? And do you think experiences like Ramos in the last fight, getting some good body work done, having a draw with a 25-year-old Muhammad Kamili, in the WBC tournament over there in Riyadh. How much do you think that? I know you just said it'll help you, but why is it not too much too soon?
I feel like it's not too much too soon because of the guys that surround me. I got a great team around me, and I feel like I'm prepared in every level. Just from my coaches to my nutrition to just everything that I have around me. I feel like all the work that I'm putting in, and I feel like I got some of the best skills in this world. Once I develop into my man strength and really, I'm still learning as a pro because it's a lot different from the amateurs. But even in the amateurs, I fought nothing but the top fighters in the world. All the guys that you see now fighting on TV, I was actually fighting them in the amateurs. So I feel like why take a step back and not keep developing and getting better. And I feel like it's not too much for me. I want to be a world champion. I want to be great in this sport. So I'm not here to play around and obviously want to take my time and be smart. Not saying I want to fight for a title right now, but I feel like with these type of fights and the development that I'm getting right now, in about 18 months, I'll be fighting for a title.
Yeah, that's quick, man. Credit to you. Talking about beating guys that are fighting on television right now that are having names as young prospects. You beat Zaquin Moses in the 2023 Junior Olympics. Um, run it down to the fans what your full list of accolades is as an amateur. And was that fight with Zaquin, was that in the finals of the Junior Olympics? Did you win those JOs?
Yeah, we fought in that was after he beat Carmel. We fought in I think he won the very first day, and I was the number one seed. So we ended up fighting like day two, and yeah, I ended up winning the tournament. I think I stopped two opponents, and then won another two unanimous decisions to finish that tournament.
What other accolades did you get in the amateurs?
Like top guys with nice names now, or just like in
That
general?
and were you how many national championships did you win? I know you were ranked number one at 132 and 139, things like that.
Man, I fought so many top level guys and amateurs. I would really have to go in my book and look, but just off the top of my head, a guy that's like buzzing right now is Zay. So I probably would say my most the guy with the best name that I fought is probably Zay from the amateurs, but I won a lot of tournaments. Fighting 5 days in a row. I beat Johnny Manzor as well.
Hmm.
I beat him. I had just turned 18, and he was about 25 or 26 years old, and he already had been competed in the Olympic trials like since 2016. So that was 8 years. He's already been at that level. And my very first year, I went and beat him. I went up in weight as well. I was fighting at 139 and only weighing 133, just barely making weight, because I couldn't the way that they had the system is 125 or 139. It was like a big jump. And I couldn't make 125 for a week straight. So I had to just go up and weight and fight bigger guys. So I beat guys like Johnny Manzor as well. And he's a pretty big name as well.
Yeah, he sells a lot of tickets down there in the San Diego area, him and his cousin, Julius
Yeah.
Ballo. So yeah, that's a good win too. So far, one knockout as a pro, but again, you are fighting good competition right out the gates. What would you say about your punching power? Is it still developing? Do you feel you will have enough power to keep guys off of you going forward? What could you say about your punching power?
Actually, these last few camps, even in the Ramos fight, I feel like there's a few things that I did wrong, but me and my team went back to the drawing board, and now I'm seeing like certain things that I know I have power because the guy's not just gonna keep in coming in there rushing at me or anything. So I got respectable power, but it's really just turning on when I land a shot about getting a guy out of there because there's times even in the WBC tournament where I was hurting guys and just letting them off the hook. So I know I got the power and I'm still developing, but I feel like over the next couple years, the knockout ratio is gonna go way up.
Yeah, because you're very sharp, early in your career, and usually when the speed could be the power, and you got good technique, and you could hear the shots. So do you feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's a matter of time that the results come with it?
Yeah, just a matter of time. I feel like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to me right now that I haven't been getting everybody out of there because I'm getting a lot of rounds underneath my belt and learning. I'm learning a lot. Just it's a big difference from the pros and the amateurs. I had over 150 fights in the amateurs, but as being a professional, it's a lot more different. No headgear with the smaller gloves, so I'm just learning how to be comfortable in there against top level competition.
Yeah, speaking of top level competition, I know you've sparred with Terence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. Let's start there, man. What can you recall and tell us about your sparring sessions with Keyshawn Davis?
Oh man, me and Keyshawn, we was getting some dog work. I was sparring Keyshawn when I was 16. Um, that was about I say 2021. And he's actually one of the guys who told me that I could go up and weight to 139 for the Olympic trials and stuff. And so shout out to him for that. 'Cause he fought at 138 in amateurs
Hmm.
and went pro at 135. But I was sparring him a lot, and it helped me. You're in there with a top level guy. Even back then, Keyshawn, I feel was top 10 in his weight, top five, and now look at him. He's probably top 15 pound for pound in the game right now. So sparring with guys like that and holding my own, it just shows me where I'm at. And that's a guy that's way bigger than me. 2 weight classes above me.
I know he carries a lot of intensity to the ring. He's a good puncher. He's very physical on the inside in the clinches and things like that, and punching out of those clinches. Did you have to earn your respect in those sessions and dig deep at 16 years old?
Yeah, I feel like definitely because boxing ain't no soft sport, so you
Hmm.
got to really stand on your business. You know what I'm saying, and can't let nobody get in there playing with you, talking any type of way. And if you're not working, they'll treat you any type of way. So I had to really stand on business and earn my respect, and just holding my own in there, and guys see that and they like that.
Did you spar with Terence Crawford as well?
Yeah, just moved around with him. I think it was for the Sean Porter fight. So I think that was 21 or
21.
2020. Yeah, 21. Yeah. I just moved around with him and even for the Earl Spence fight, I was there the whole entire camp. I didn't spar him, because I'm not southpaw, but I just been around these guys like a long time. Terence Crawford, I've been knowing him since I was about 10 years old. So Bomac and them, we were actually working the other day, and they were just talking about it's crazy how much I've grown and how much they see me develop because they've been knowing me since I was about 10 years old.
Yeah, because you're born and raised in Colorado Springs, right? Which is crazy because that's where the Olympic
Yeah,
Center is, and that's where all these great fighters have to come through at some point. And Terrence had many camps there. So is that why they knew you
yeah.
since you were 10?
Yeah, they used to be at the YMCA, and before it was crazy. Nobody knew who he was, and me being a kid, always watching boxing. When I first seen him, I'm like, how does nobody know who this guy is? And he was a world champ at 135, and he's at the YMCA with us and playing basketball and just chilling like a normal person. And over time, we just start seeing each other at the gym, and then they start inviting me, Troy, we got some work over here for you, and we want to help you out. So it just kind of been growing ever since.
What's the best story you could share from dealing with Crawford all those years in his team?
Um, I probably would say Bud came to watch me fight one time and actually when I fought Johnny Mansour and he kind of caught me with like a dirty shot and it knocked me off balance so people thought I got dropped. But after the fight, Bud came up to me and we exchanged some words and he gave me some real game and he helped me out a lot and I feel like just since that fight it was a mistake that I was making and it's like I took it away and I mean everything just way better. I'll probably say that and then like his competitiveness, being around him in the gym, how he gets super serious real quick. So just how he could turn that switch on, it's like, learning things like that from him. Like somebody was I think they were talking about football, and it was just crazy to see how competitive he is just in any aspect that he doing.
Yeah, and then lastly too, man, what do you about those three guys we're talking about? Shakur, man, what do you recall from working with Shakur Stevenson?
Was Shakur mastering the game of hitting and not get hit. If you look at all my interviews over the years since I worked with him, I always said like, he's one of the best in the game, and you got to be a super special fighter to beat a guy like that. And I learned a lot working with him as well. I worked with Shakur after me and Zay fought, which is in 23, and we did about 10 rounds. So I actually was gonna come out and work with him for the Teofimo fight, but I had an orthodox opponent, and it was my very first Zuffa fight, so I had a lot on the line myself. So I had to be locked in for that fight. But they'll call me because they know I'm super good work. So help me. It helps me out a lot. Being in there with a top level pound for pound guy. So
So it was all respect from Shakur, even though you battled his cousins, Zaquin Moses. It was all good.
yeah, yeah. They always show me love. It's vice versa. Got nothing but respect for each other.
So what can we expect in this fight with Brian Rodriguez? And after learning from and sparring with all those kind of fighters, what kind of fighter is Troy Nash? What do you think you have? How would you describe your style? And what's going to make Troy Nash a world champion in the pros, even as early as 18 months from now, like you said earlier in the interview?
I feel like really everything I've been talking about, my experience, getting knowledge from all these greats that I've been around, because these all these guys are gonna go down as greats in my generation of the past generation, which is Bud, and being around all these top people, getting all this knowledge, all the experience. I feel like me just learning and developing in there. I feel like I'm only a couple fights away from becoming like a real big name in the game. I know what the fans want to see, so now it's time to start giving the fans what they want to see. Exciting knockouts. I'm a technician in the ring, but now it's time to really turn the switch on and show everybody like why I'm gonna develop and be a real star in this game. So for this fight, you can expect some fireworks. Whether I stop him or not, I'm going in there. I'm gonna put on a show. He just better be ready because I'm in shape. I did everything I had to do this camp, stay disciplined. So I'm ready to go in there and show the best version of myself.
And what would you say your style is? Are you a pure boxer, boxer puncher? technician, how would you describe Troy Nash?
I feel like I'm an all around type of fighter. You look at the greats like Floyd. He could box. He could, walk you down, sit in the pocket. I feel like I'm one of those type of guys. I could do everything. It just depends on who I'm fighting or what I got to do to get the job done. If I'm fighting a guy that wants to, keep coming forward, bringing pressure, like in the I had jaw, getting experience from stuff like learn, that actually helped my style out by being able to, sit in the pocket. You don't have to move, I can pocket with you, box you, I knock you down and break you down throughout the fight. So I'm a type of fighter.
And ultimately, man, last one before you get out of here. What's your what made you fall in love with boxing? And I read some notes that, your father, he you becoming a young man, a kid into the sport, kind of it helped his life around too, and those kinds of things. How much of that plays a role in it? And yes, what are you looking to get out of this sport? What made you love this sport, and what does this sport do for you, Troy?
I feel like, at first I was when I first started boxing, I was doing it just, it's fun to fight. And I actually met Adrian Broner at a young age, and he was training at the same gym as me when I was about 6 years old. So watching him fight on TV and just seeing all the shine that he was getting, I'm like, man, that could be me. I feel like I could do that when I get older. And then as I start getting older, and it just kept me out of trouble, and now that I'm professional and I'm getting paid and things like that, I feel like, I could be the guy. I take care of all my family. Not everybody, but the ones close to me. So, the people that's close to me and I feel like is deserving, it feels good to be able to, do things for people that I love and that's close to me. And I feel like the bigger and bigger the better I get, the more I grow in the sport, I feel like I could be the guy to really, do something great for my family. So now my motivation is just taking care of my family, siblings, and being a great in this sport.
To be the breadwinner.
Yeah, basically be the breadwinner, man. Making. I'm only 20 and already got a few good things going on. I actually got two properties. So I'm doing good things. Investing my money, putting my money up now because you can't box forever. So I got a great team around me from finances to everything. So I'm doing everything the right way right now.
Hey, smart young man, very mature answer for a 20-year-old man. So, credit to you, man, and your pops. Have a good fight this Sunday on Paramount Plus, and it's good catching up with you, Troy. Hope to talk again. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.